Oh, looks like I'm going to have to edit that later. All right. I think we got it going. Oh, forgot about Instagram. Yeah. Whoops. Let's see here. All right. Except I should probably turn that around. There we go. All right. How's it going, everyone? It's Jared Huff here on Highly Opinionated. We're going to talk some NBA Finals tonight, NBA free agency, and basically it's all NBA because that's really all that's going on right now. Well, there's MLB, but do I really know MLB that well? No. I like the Cubs. That's about it. All right. So we're going to start. Sorry. No Antonio, no Chad tonight. I was going to have Jake Larson come on, but he had to cancel last minute. So we'll get you on sometime, Jake, sometime soon. Anyway, NBA Finals. Wow. They've been surprisingly really entertaining. Yeah, the series is lopsided when you look at the score saying, oh, it's just 3-1. Like, this doesn't look great at all. Well, there's the catch. The great part is the Warriors are down 1-3 against the Toronto Raptors, who a lot of people weren't sure exactly how they'd translate going into the finals. I didn't even think they'd make the finals. I honestly, at the start of the playoffs, I had Sixers and Raptors going against each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then the Sixers, no, I didn't have Sixers and Raptors. I had Sixers and Bucks, I believe. Can't remember. Anyways, did not have the Raptors making it all the way. But Kawhi Leonard, oh my God, he's playing out of his mind. He's playing like MJ. And it's so cool seeing the Raptors do this, like going up 3-1 against the Warriors. Even though, yes, the Warriors are hurt, but they still have Steph Curry. They've had Klay Thompson majority of the time. Draymond Green's been playing great, and he's still a star-level player. DeMarcus Cousins, yeah, he's not 100% healthy, but he's still on the floor, even though at times it's been kind of a negative, except in Game 2 he played really well. They still got Andre Iguodala. Like, it's still a very good team. And I think this is great for the NBA. One, because I think we're all a little fatigued with the Warriors making the finals 5 years in a row and always usually having an overwhelmingly far more talented team compared to their opponent. And I was just tired of watching them kick LeBron's ass every year. Honestly, like, I was also tired of the Cavs going every year. Like, it was cool when they won in 2016, but then they came back in 2017. Then they came back in 2018. It's like, all right, can we see something new? So I'm thankful it's a new franchise, especially one that's never been in the finals like Toronto. Like, that's awesome for the fan base. That's great. Don't want to see Cleveland. For one, I hate Cleveland so fucking much. Terrible franchise. The worst franchise in the NBA, other than maybe the Knicks, but at least the Knicks have some history, and they're one of like the golden era NBA franchises. But yeah, done with the Cavs. Do not care. Also, I respect LeBron as a player. He's on my second. Yeah, I have him second on my all-time list, and I respect what he's done for the game, and I respect what he does outside of the game, especially socially. But I'm tired of seeing him in the finals. I don't want to watch LeBron and the Warriors play each other every year. I'm tired of it. So thank God LeBron's not in it this year. The Cavs aren't in it this year. I'm happy with that. And of course, Raptors killing the Warriors right now. Fantastic. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Now about the Warriors' health, a lot of people are gonna say like, "Oh, Raptors had it easy." Blah 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 blah. This that the other. Well, if you look back, Warriors have had it pretty easy when it came to dealing with injuries. If you remember in 2015, I believe the starting lineup for most of the games for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they lost Kyrie Irving, I believe it was in overtime of game one. Like he collided knees with Klay Thompson and just fractured it, and he was out already. And then you had Kevin Love. I believe he got into it with Kelly Olynyk. Like Kelly Olynyk pulled something on his shoulder and like something tore. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was done before the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I think that was in the second round he got injured. So their starting lineup with like Matthew Dellavedova, Iman Shumpert, LeBron James, Tristan Thompson might have been at the power forward and Timothy Mozgov at the center. Like Warriors have had it easy, and that was before KD. And Clay, Curry, and Draymond were still great, especially Curry. He won the MVP that year. Then you go to the next year, and it was a fair fight, and the Cavs actually pulled a 3-1. Well, like they came back down from 3-1, one of the craziest NBA finals ever. They didn't have Draymond, and I believe it was game 5 because he got suspended. But regardless, like you were up 3-1, you should have closed at some point, so you don't get a pass there. And then 2017, they got KD and he just blew the Cavs out of the water. Kyrie leaves before the 2018 season starts. And you have, again, an overwhelmingly dominant Warriors team going against the Cavs. Like, it's like, all right, so it's the same movie as last year. This time, J.R. Smith has a bigger role in where he literally throws the game away because he doesn't know the score, thinking they're ahead. And you don't have Kyrie Irving, the closer. So why am I watching this? Oh, okay, Warriors 1-4. All right, on to free agency. So it's just great not having to deal with at least the same team over again. And Toronto, it's such a great story. So I will be pissed if people start saying, "Oh, well, Toronto won against an injured team." Okay, yeah, but they still have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and sort of DeMarcus Cousins, and Kevin Durant may come back for game 6. So I don't want to hear you guys bagging on Toronto and bagging on their potential championship because they earned this. Kawhi Leonard's carrying the team on his back. Yeah, you have contributions from Lowry and Siakam and Gasol and Ibaka, but it's not consistent enough to where you can, like, oh, that's the number 2 guy and he's going to be there every single night. You don't know that. So moving on from the Warriors' health, well, it's kind of the same thing. We're going to talk about Kevin Durant. Apparently, he practiced today with the Warriors, which, it's just been such a weird situation because you're hearing, like, he tried to practice and he couldn't. You saw a video of him in the tunnel. I believe it was after game 3. He had, like, ice on his Achilles. You're like, why is he icing his Achilles right now? And also, like, he's not on the bench with his team. He's away from the team. And it's kind of making you wonder, like, what's going on? Is he coming back? How serious is this injury? Like, we don't know. And so hearing that he practiced today, and so today is Sunday. I don't know the date. All you have to know is tomorrow is game 6. That's Monday. No, it's game 5. I am sorry. Yes, game 5. Tomorrow's game 5. Could Kevin Durant be coming back? I don't know. He needs to come back because the Raptors have been looking pretty good. I mean, Danny Green looked really good in game 4 and then was a no-show in game 5, and it still wasn't close towards the end. I forget how much the Raptors won by, but they were up by 16 at one point in the 4th, I believe. Like, This team's hot right now, and the Warriors need I don't care what anyone says, like, oh, Kevin Durant, if he comes back, he won't be healthy. Having Kevin Durant so good at basketball, that won't matter. He's going to be a plus to your team regardless. He's just too good to be bad for your team. So KD, as long as he is truly available to play, he needs to come back, or the Warriors, there's not a chance in hell. Now, what scares me, because there is a narrative that could develop, and I don't want this to happen because this narrative scares me. The Warriors are down 3-1 right now. They were up 3-1 in 2016, and LeBron led the Cavs back and won. I'm just scared to death that Toronto being up 3-1, even though they seem like they're in the right mentality, like they weren't celebrating after the game or anything like that. Like they're like, all right, yeah, we're facing the Warriors. We still got one game. This is not secured. We don't have this in the bag. I like that. But the narrative could arise to where the Warriors get KD back. KD and Curry, whichever one carries the team and wins 3 straight, which I think they've only won one game against Toronto all year, including the season series. So like this one game, it was game 2 is their only one against Toronto this year. Regardless, could you imagine the Warriors coming back and being the second team to come back from being down 3-1? Oh my God, we would not hear the end of it. I would be depressed. I'd be depressed for Toronto. I don't want to see another ring on any of their fingers. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind. I want them to all split up. Like, I want KD to go somewhere else. And if KD wins a ring, like, say, in New York or Los Angeles Clippers, like, I'm fine with that. That's cool. I don't care. I don't want to see another Warriors championship. I want to see the bandwagon die. I am so anti-bandwagon. I couldn't stand the Heat. I couldn't stand the Cavs. Okay, so the LeBron bandwagon. Can't stand the LeBron bandwagon. Can't stand the Warriors bandwagon. That one might be worse, actually. I don't know. I haven't really decided that. The Warriors bandwagon actually probably is the worst bandwagon of all time. Like, looking at all of sports. Like, you can say, oh, yeah, Cubs have a big bandwagon, which, yeah, they kind of do, but I don't think we're too annoying about it. I'm not saying I'm part of the bandwagon. I've always been a Cubs fan. But another annoying bandwagon was the Seahawks bandwagon back in the early 2010s. That sucked. That was annoying. Hated the Seahawks. Now I don't mind them so much. Like, I like Russell Wilson and all that. Yeah, but Heat bandwagon was terrible in combination with the LeBron bandwagon. Like, Dwayne Wade was one of my favorite players, but there was a time where, like, I really can't stand you right now, Dwayne Wade, because you're part of all this. I know I can't blame you, but you're part of it. So, yeah. And I want to see the bandwagon era end. I just want to see like the wealth of talent in the league spread out. And KD, that starts with you. You got to leave this summer. So moving away from KD, I want to talk about Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard, like the trade the Toronto Raptors made for Kawhi Leonard shook like the NBA. Like no one expected it because yeah, the Raptors just came off a terrible loss in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2018, getting blown out by the Cavs in 4 games. And they fired Dwayne Casey, who won Coach of the Year. I don't think that's ever happened in professional sports. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that's never happened before. And then they trade DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl for longtime Spur Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard wanted out. And Kawhi Leonard was also on 1 year left on his deal, and it sounded like he wanted to go out to LA. And everyone's like, what are the Raptors doing? They just like threw everything away. You don't know if Kawhi Leonard's going to come back and be Kawhi Leonard because he was hurt. No thanks to the Warriors and Zaza Pachulia, who I'm so glad is not in this final series. I can't stand that guy. And like you saw DeMar DeRozan on his Instagram was very cryptic with his messages. And like your heart broke for him because it's like he's given everything to this team, like his whole career, and they just threw him away. Like a few days after they told him, yeah, we're not going to trade you because I guess he heard his name come up and rumors and stuff. On top of that, they probably split up the best duo in the NBA. I'm not talking in terms of skill, but like just in terms of like fun. Like go on like YouTube right now and just look up Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan videos. You'll be like for a few hours you'll just have fun just watching those two. Like they're probably the NBA's like best comedy duo. And Instagram just something just happened with like my Instagram app. I knew Instagram Live wasn't great and it just closed on me. And just for the people on Instagram, we're going to go live one more time. Don't know why that happened. So sorry, people of Instagram. I don't know why that happened, but I'm back. Yeah, so Kawhi Leonard, that trade has paid off like no one thought it would. To be honest, none of us were really sure how Kawhi Leonard would come back because his injury was so weird and so mysterious, and they weren't going to play him every single game like over the season. Like I don't think he played any back-to-backs. I think he only played like 66 games, maybe not even that. And he played very well during the season. Like at times you're like, yeah, this guy could be an MVP candidate. And then the playoffs start and he killed the Magic. Like his shooting percentages are like in the 60s, I think. Like it's insane. They had that awesome game 7. He had the awesome game 7 buzzer beater against the Sixers. First game 7 buzzer beater for the win in NBA history, where it bounced on the rim like 3 or 4 times and went in. Like that was insane. And that already made him a legend in Toronto. On to the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee. They went down 2-0, and you're like, well, Giannis is looking really good. Milwaukee's got this in the bag. Like maybe Toronto will win a game or two, but it's on to the next round for the Bucks. And then Kawhi just turns on the Jets. Nick Nurse changes the defense on the Bucks to where like you'll have like 3 or 4 guys coming down at Giannis to kind of trap him all at once. And it just neutralized them, and they, in a way, kind of picked up a gentleman's sweep on him. And then you move on to the finals, and Kawhi Leonard has, other than I think game 2, he was it's game 1 or game 2, he wasn't like great, but like the guy's dropping like 30 plus points almost every single night. He's brought the mid-range game back. Like it's odd. Like if you watch him play, like he's shooting outside, he's shooting inside, he's driving to the rim. Like I am a huge, like, just, I guess you could call me an old head when it comes to basketball. I like the balance. I don't like teams hoisting up like 30 plus 3-pointers a game. Like I don't like watching that. I like watching the bigs with their back to the basket. I like watching guards pull up from mid-range. That's why I always like DeMar DeRozan a lot, because like he can't shoot from the outside, but his mid-range game is great. Like I like that. And that's what Kawhi Leonard's doing. Like he's shooting the mid, like if you saw him in game 5, like turnarounds, like shooting in the face of Draymond Green, like he was hitting from everywhere on the floor, and I was going crazy. And it was just so great to see a player using the mid-range game effectively to help his team out. Like you saw that with CJ McCollum. I think it was against the Nuggets. Like he was taking like a lot of mid-range shots, and they were going in, and because of that, like they were winning. Like, so I hate analytics and what it's done to the game of basketball, because analytics say 2-point shots like from the mid-range aren't like great shots, which in some ways, yeah, that's kind of true. But at the same time, like there are players that break analytics, and Kawhi Leonard's one of those players where that's part of his game. He's going to make it. Let him take it. And so watching Kawhi Leonard, it gives you some flashes like of MJ and Kobe, and like I think it's awesome. Just one guy carrying the team, and because of how like this the playoffs have played out for the Raptors, where there really hasn't been a number 2 or number 3 guy that's stepped up to where it's clear. Like you thought it might have been Siakam, but some games he kind of fades, and then Lowry has a good game or Marcus Gasol has a good game. Kawhi Leonard essentially is like a one-man wrecking crew. Kind of reminds me of Allen Iverson with the Sixers. How Iverson, like, well, I mean, this Raptors team is a lot better than Iverson's Sixers, but Iverson was like head and shoulders above everyone else on his team. was going up against the Shaq and Kobe Lakers and actually stole a game. Except this time around with Kawhi Leonard and his one-man wrecking crew, they're up. He's up against what should have been the greatest NBA team of all time. Now, unfortunately, and it's weird for me to say this because I've been hating on the Warriors and saying I don't like how they have all this talent on the team, but it's kind of disappointing because, like, you figured, yeah, the Warriors are going to come and win this thing, like the finals, because they got literally an all-star lineup of 5 players that have been all-stars within the last 2 years. You got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins. Let's be honest, we all kind of wanted to see them all healthy at the same time, just see like what that would have been like. And we never really got the opportunity to see that. So it's kind of a disappointment, but at the same time, Kawhi Leonard's still going up against a very great team and winning. So I think this is my highly opinionated stamp of approval. This will go down as the single greatest playoff run for one player of all time. And I'm going to tell you why. Kawhi Leonard has done this. Oh, I had to fix my laptop screen. Kawhi Leonard has done this all by himself for the most part, in terms of you only know what you're getting from him every single night. Everyone else is an unknown. Yeah, there are a lot of great role players, and Kyle Lowry was an all-star, but they're not all stepping up and playing like you'd expect from them each and every night. He's led them like okay, let's be honest. We all knew he was going to have the magic. That's not that impressive, except his numbers were. But he led them over the Sixers, and he led them over the Bucks, 2 great teams with great players. Giannis was probably MVP, and then like you look, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons. Even though Ben Simmons and Embiid weren't on top of their games, like they're still great players. And now he's going up against arguably the greatest team of all time, and he's kicking their ass. And like, yeah, LeBron came back 3-1, but he still had Kyrie Irving. You knew what you're going to get from Kyrie Irving every night. He had Kevin Love. Yeah, Kevin Love wasn't great, but that's like the same thing with every other player on the Raptors in this series. Like, you don't know what you're getting from them every single night. So Kawhi Leonard doesn't really have his Robin like LeBron had Kyrie. Yes, I'm not discrediting LeBron, because clearly nothing would have happened without LeBron in that game or in that series. But Kawhi Leonard's he wasn't down 3-1. He's up 3-1. So he didn't lose 3 games. He won 3 games right off the bat, only giving up 1 in the process. A game that without DeMarcus Cousins should have been won, and I should already be talking about how the Toronto Raptors are the 2019 NBA champions. This will be the greatest single-player performance in NBA playoff history. Kawhi Leonard. Write that down. I'm not saying he's better than MJ. Not saying he's better than LeBron. Not saying he's better than Kobe. I'm just saying what he's done is the most impressive thing I've ever seen. And I mean, yeah, it's happening now, but if there's ever a team like the Warriors again, and the mismatch or like the lack of talent on the other side of the equation and how the Raptors are, we will never see something like this again. I believe that. I don't think we'll see it. All right. Next order of business is, what does this mean for the Warriors dynasty if this series is a loss? And I was getting into it a little bit earlier. We're saying like it's such a disappointment because you don't have all 5 of those stars at their full like strength. And it's a shame. Now, I will say this, the Warriors dynasty is still a dynasty because they won 3 out of 5 championships, which I forget how many times Larry Bird's Celtics made it to the finals. Well, they won 3 championships, but I forget like how many times. They might have gone 5 times. I can't exactly remember. But we're not saying they're not a dynasty. So this Warriors team is definitely a dynasty. I don't want any of the Warriors haters to discredit them on that. Their team is too talented to not have them be called the dynasty. I mean, you got Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, like Klay Thompson, all of them. Like, they're a dynasty. It's official. Like you can't take that away from them. That's what they are. They won 3 titles in 5 seasons. But a series loss, I think, will end the dynasty. Some people say, oh, if they lose, Kevin Durant's coming back without a doubt. DeMarcus Cousins will come back. Well, I don't know about that. The Warriors can't pay DeMarcus Cousins unless he wants another mid-level exception, which I highly doubt. Someone's going to pay him this year, whether they overpay him this summer or something like that. You know a team's going to do it. And then Kevin Durant, like, it's so weird with what's going on there. I can't see it going any farther than that. And finally, on the NBA final side of tonight, I want to talk about the fans and the fans I have problems with. Now, I'm going to start with the worst offender of all, and that would be Warriors owner Mark Stevens. You saw in Game 4, Kyle Lowry flew to the sidelines to save loose ball. You're going to do that. It's the NBA Finals. You need every possession you can get. And he, unfortunately, this woman really couldn't get out of the way, so he kind of landed on her. And Mark Stevens, which everyone, he just looks like an average guy, like a fan on the sidelines, not wearing any NBA gear because he's too rich to show support for his team, really. Goes and reaches 2 seats over and shoves Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, gets in his face. It looks like he's going to kick his ass, but Kyle Lowry's smarter than that, so he knows not to do it. And then he's removed. Mark Stevens, no one knew who he was really at the time, is removed from the game. And it comes out the next day that was the Warriors owner, and it shocks the NBA. What are you doing? You're worth $9 billion and you got to do something childish like that. So then people are calling for his ban from the NBA. People are telling him sell the team. Colin Cowherd was advocating for a ban for life and sell his share of the team, which I'm completely okay with. I'm tired of privileged people acting like they're above everyone else, especially when it comes to minorities, basketball players, like Kyle Lowry. He's an African-American man. You can make any assumption you want, he's looking down on him and stuff like that, which is possible. I'm if you're going to shove him for no reason like that, I think you have some sort of prejudice, whether it's because of how financially well equipped you are or whether it's the color of your skin. I think there's something there. But there is no place for that. And the fan relations in so many cities are just getting so bad with how they treat players. They're treating them like second-class citizens. And I've seen all the talk the players are getting paid too much. Well, no, they get a certain percentage of the NBA's revenue because without them, there is no NBA. So they deserve that. So they're not overpaid. If anything, they're underpaid because we're only there to watch and pay for stuff because they're there giving us a product. So they deserve all the money they get. Yeah. So Mark Stevens received a 1-year ban from any NBA games and a $500,000 fine, which I saw somebody did a calculation. It's 0.02% of his net worth, which I saw is essentially someone that makes $100,000 a year gain a $22 fine, which that's kind of disappointing. I was hoping it was more. Now, people have been comparing this incident to what Drake's been doing. While Drake is in good faith with the Raptors and stuff like that, and he's he's an ambassador for their team. Drake, he's friends with the players. He's friends with the Raptors. He went out to dinner with Draymond Green after he called him trash and stuff like that. So, he's not doing anything necessarily wrong or there's no ill will, but it's annoying. I don't want to see Drake standing up on the sidelines. I mean, a few years ago during a Bulls game, he started yelling in Justin Holiday's ear on an inbounds play, and that pissed me off. So I think they need to regulate what fans can do because you don't see, say, if I'm sitting courtside, if I start doing what Drake was doing, I'm not saying I'm touching the coach or anything, but if I'm yelling in players' ears and standing up, I'm going to be told to sit down, shut up, or probably get removed or something like that just because I'm me. And that's not right. Drake should be held to the same standard as every other fan there. Because he tries to make the game about himself. Dude, you're a rapper. You already got a great life none of us could imagine. Stop trying to make yourself relevant in something you're not. You're not a basketball player. You're not in the NBA. Sit down and just enjoy the game like everyone else because it's obnoxious. And that's all I have for that part. So we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to dive into free agency. And then after that, we're going to talk some NBA rumors. And yeah, just some there's gonna be some bull stuff because there's been some bullshit that I need to vent a little bit about. It's coming up. Uh, let's see if anyone said anything. Nope. All right. I'm just gonna take some time because we're still live on Facebook and YouTube. Check the Facebook chat to see if anyone's. How's it going, Mikey? Who I got tomorrow? I got Raptors. I even think if KD comes back, they're gonna close it out. All right. All right, welcome back. We're gonna dive into some free agency. I'm just gonna basically go off a list of like some of the top free agents, and I'm gonna say what's gonna happen with them, where they're going, where they're not going, and yeah. So Kevin Durant, uh, he is the biggest free agent name this summer. He's arguably the best player in the NBA, whether you say LeBron or Kawhi Leonard or Giannis. Like, I'm not going to argue against that, although I don't think Giannis is quite there yet. I'm going to say KD is the best player in the NBA. Maybe it's going to be Kawhi Leonard after the series. Who knows how like everything's going to pan out, which I will say, I didn't say it during my NBA finals talk, but I will say Raptors are probably going to win game 5 in Toronto. And we're going to watch them hoist up their first NBA banner, which is fantastic. So back to KD. Kevin Durant's leaving Golden State. We saw it very early in the season. Like, stuff wasn't great. You saw during one game, Draymond Green and Kevin Durant were fighting on the sidelines. I believe it was a game against the Rockets where Draymond made a bad play and like lost the ball. And like he was like dribbling up the court and I think he kind of slipped or something and the ball rolled out of the bounds. And it ended up being a big play as the Warriors weren't able to come back and they lost. And so you saw like Draymond saying like, we know you're leaving. And that was early in the season. And now with his injuries and everything and just how weird it's been, like he's been away for the team majority of the games in the playoffs thus far since he's been hurt in the past month, which I think that's a bad look. I personally think, yeah, you're hurt, but you're one of the star players. Even if you're not coming back, you should still be with your team. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care that you're the best player on the team. You should be with your team. And so that's a bad look. And then you have all the leaks like, oh, he's looking at New York. Oh, he's looking at Los Angeles. Oh, he's looking at Brooklyn. There's just so many, like, there's so much leaked information that, yeah, it's coming to an end. And KD, like, he's so sensitive when it comes to stuff, which I kind of get. I'm a sensitive guy too. So, like, if someone's firing something at me, I'm probably going to fire back. So I think he's listened to everyone talk about, like, how they view him going to Golden State and how kind of cheap move that was. And I think he kind of wants to prove on his own that he can do it. And that is why he's going to go to the New York Knicks. Now, the New York Knicks are by nowhere close to being a great NBA franchise. They're a historical one, but their owner sucks. The front office, it's unclear. It's better than when Phil Jackson was there, but still quite unclear. The roster is meh, but if you have a name like Kevin Durant going there, you're going to get somebody. And I assume he's going to sign like a long-term contract. They'll be able to give him a team, especially in the East. He'll be able to do something, unlike what LeBron was able to do with the Lakers this year. But yeah, LeBron was hurt. Who knows what would happen? Yada, yada, yada. So KD is going to the Knicks. And I think with that, the Knicks could potentially try to get a second star to go there, whether it be via trade or free agency. I think they have enough space for 2 free agents. Don't quote me on that. I didn't do the research on that, but they might have enough space for 2 because there are talks of Kyrie and KD teaming up there. So speaking of Kyrie, Kyrie is gonna leave the Celtics, even though he said before the first game of the season at home that he was gonna resign. Well, he was lying. Things aren't great in Boston. We saw that all season. They underachieved so bad. They didn't look like what we thought the Boston Celtics were going to look like until the first round of the playoffs against the Pacers. And then, of course, they got destroyed by the Bucks. And, oh, God, like, it's such a disappointment because the Celtics turned everything around so much, so quickly after the Big Four era. I'm going to say Big Four because, yes, I include Rondo in that. And then which looking now, it's a good move, but at the same time, it's one of those like DeMar DeRozan moves where like it hurts, but it had to be done in hindsight. With Isaiah Thomas, like getting shown the door, sent to Cleveland along with Jay Crowder. It's so disappointing to see what it's become, but the fact of the reality is Kyrie's not going to go to the Knicks now. He's going to go to the Nets because due to a lot of leaked information, I'm assuming it's coming from the Nets organization. They have mutual interests there. They now have enough space for 2 max slots. So you could see them pairing him and D'Angelo Russell together. Although I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is the Nets are going to get Kyrie Irving. Then if they don't attract another big free agent like Kevin Durant or somebody like that, they're going to try to sign D'Angelo Russell and then do a sign and trade with the Pelicans where they're going to put some trade package together and then they're going to trade D'Angelo Russell and that package to the Pelicans to get Anthony Davis and have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving run the Nets. I don't know specifically if that's what's going to happen with the Anthony Davis trade. That's just what I see happening if Kyrie does go to the Nets and when he goes to the Nets. Although they have said that they do see a backcourt of Kyrie Irving and D'Angelo Russell working, and I would hate to see D'Angelo Russell traded after what happened with the Lakers and him like coming into his own with Brooklyn. Like it was a feel-good story. I'd hate to see that happen, but it's a possibility. All right, now Kawhi Leonard, and I'm going to be blunt. If you think you know where Kawhi Leonard's going, you don't. Stop kidding yourself. I don't care how professional you are. I don't care who your sources are. You don't know where Kawhi Leonard's going. No one does. You can listen to his uncle, you can listen to his friends or whoever has been talking. They don't know. I don't even know if Kawhi Leonard knows. I mean, he's playing in the NBA Finals right now for a franchise that he may or may not be staying with, regardless of what happens. If he wins the championship, people are like, oh, he's going to stay. They won the championship. How can you leave? No. You don't know if he's staying. Even if they lose, oh, he has to come back for the next season. They have to try to make it again. Unfinished business. No. That roster's old. And from what he saw this year, he didn't have anyone that was a bona fide number 2 player. So he knows he can't like rely on them to get back there. You weren't sure if they're going to get there in the first place because we could easily be talking either the Sixers or the Bucks in the finals right now. But he hit him on a game winner, and then he led the Raptors back against the Bucks. And then people are saying, oh, the Clippers, Southern California. He's from LA in that area. No, you don't know if he's going to the Clippers either. No one knows where Kawhi Leonard's going to go. And that's the fact of it's reality. You don't know where he's going to go. So stop pretending like you know. Now the Clippers are a very, very attractive location for him. The roster is essentially set up for you have 6 man of the year Lou Williams, you have Also, potential six man of the year, Montrezl Harrell. You got Danilo Gallinari. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a young up and coming point guard. You got Landry Shamet. You got a lot of young pieces, a lot of veteran pieces that are very attractive. It's literally the team literally says insert superstar here. The Clippers are crazy on Kawhi Leonard. So that makes a lot of sense. But then it also makes a lot of sense to stay in Toronto because Toronto has a roster that's been somewhat of like the same core for a number of years. Yeah, some of the stars are older, like Lowry and Gasol and Ibaka, but they're still very productive players. And they have a young group of guys there like OG and Anunoby and Fred Van Fleet, Norman Powell. Like they're all good players. Pascal Siakam, they're all going to be there for a while. So that makes sense too. So I think it's a 50-50 chance he's going to go he's going to go anyway. Sorry, Lakers fans. Los Angeles Lakers, not the place for him. He doesn't want to play with LeBron, and I'd be pissed off if he went to play with LeBron because he played against him in the 2013 and 14 finals. I hate when I see rivals face off against each other. Annoys the hell out of me. I mean, I had to watch Derrick Rose, my favorite player, play with him for half a season in Cleveland. That it hurt. It hurt to watch, but we got through it. Now Rose is in a better place, and well, you be the judge of what a better place is with the Timberwolves. Also, as you may notice, I don't have Rose on this list of top free agents, also because I have no clue what he's doing. Like, part of me is like, I'd love to see him in Chicago, but that's not going to happen. And yeah, he might end up with the Timberwolves again. Although he recently called out Karl Anthony Towns in defense of Jimmy Butler. So who knows how that relationship's going right now. So, yeah, we don't know where he's going. I just hope it's not Detroit because Detroit was like, they said they want him. And I'm like, I'm tired of seeing him play for conference rivals. Anywhere but Detroit or Cleveland or Los Angeles. Even though I like the Lakers, I don't want to see him play with LeBron. Not that they would have him on the Lakers. I don't think that'd work. All right. So next, he's not a free agent. I mentioned him earlier, but Anthony Davis is a hot topic in the NBA. He wants to leave the Pelicans, and the Pelicans just got the number 1 overall draft pick, which essentially is going to be Zion Williamson, worst kept secret in the NBA. Whatever team was getting the first pick is going to have Zion Williamson. So they already know the direction they're going to go in, and they're going all in on Zion moving forward. I mean, how could you not? Makes a lot of sense. Which also brings into question, what are they going to do about Julius Randle? Because they play the same position, unless you want to play Randle at the center, which you could do. But who knows what's going to happen with that. Randle had a fantastic season. Anyway, back to the Anthony Davis trade. A lot of teams want him. He created his trade news created a huge rift with the Lakers and the young players and the veterans and LeBron and the team. And the Pelicans owner, something is wrong with my stuff. All right, we are back on the podcast. For some reason, it quit. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now with my computer right now, but it just quit in the middle. I'm so glad I was watching that. Yeah, it literally quit in the middle of me talking. And that concerns me. And now I'm looking at the other clip that I was spent talking on for a while. It's still uploading, so I don't know what that's about. Anyway, getting back into it, Anthony Davis, probably, like, even though the Lakers make the most sense in terms of what they can offer, like they could offer picks, like they have the 4th pick, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, even though Ingram's health is in question, and Lonzo Ball's health is a little in question. And just because they've already kind of severed or frayed the relationship with the younger Lakers, it did it again. All right. I don't know what's happening with Anchor right now, and I'm a little pissed off because it keeps cutting out, and I'm not getting really happy. So I'm just going to try to make my points, I guess, as quick as I can. All right. Everything uploaded now, so maybe it's just something weird with that. Although it's saying now I have an hour of. All right, I'm really gonna have to do some detective work. I don't know what's going on exactly, but the Lakers do make the most sense for, and it's doing it again. All right, so how this is gonna go is you people on YouTube and Facebook will get the full thing. I am done with Anchor for right now because I am pissed off and I'm not gonna keep recording for 30 seconds at a time for it just to stop working. So, oh yeah, you people too on Instagram because Instagram's still working for some reason. Kind of shocked, but we'll roll with it. Uh, it makes the most sense for Anthony Davis to go to the Lakers, although he's been linked to the Celtics and he's been linked to the Nets and the Knicks. The Knicks are the ideal location, and that's the place he wants to go. The Clippers have been another destination he's listed, but it doesn't make much sense for the Clippers. I think the Clippers should wait it out in free agency instead of getting rid of some of their core to trade for him because like the Clippers are so well built that I wouldn't want to split any of that up. Um, so I think Clippers should hold off on Anthony Davis. The Celtics shouldn't trade for Anthony Davis. I'm going to tell you why. Kyrie Irving's leaving. So without Kyrie Irving, you're going to have just like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and all those guys left. You trade for Anthony Davis, which means you're probably going to have to give up a few picks. Jason Tatum and at least Jaylen Brown. I don't know if you package anyone else with that. And then who do you got left? You're not even guaranteed to keep Anthony Davis. He wasn't on his top list. He could leave for LA or New York next summer. So why mortgage the future of the Celtics with Jason Tatum, who could be the next superstar, and Jaylen Brown, who's a terrific 3-and-D player? Why risk that? And I think Danny Ainge is aware because the talks of the Celtics trading for him have really cooled off, especially in the wake of Kyrie obviously leaving Boston. So it's time for the Celtics to go into a mini rebuild, but at the same time, not really being a rebuild. They're just going to focus on what they have, like their younger players, which that's what they need to do. Go all in on Jason Tatum, which I think this is what needs to happen because Celtics played really well without Kyrie Irving in last year's playoffs. And if I feel like the younger guys took a step back to that, the Gordon Hayward situation is still a question mark. What are you going to do with him? Can they trade him or is he going to bounce back next season? Like, you don't know what's going to happen there. So Anthony Davis, I would like to see him go to the Knicks or Brooklyn, preferably the Knicks, just because I feel like that's a good spot for him. And he's young enough to where like he could be there for a few years and the Knicks could build some talent around there because they're in a major market. So it is somewhat of an attractive destination for free agents. They have a solid coach in David Fizdale. Like I think it would be a good fit. All right, on to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has been linked to 3 teams that I've seen. He's been linked to the Los Angeles Lakers. He's been linked to the Dallas Mavericks, which I actually kind of predicted. So I'm a little happy about that. Oh, wow. Several comments. Let's see if I can respond. How's it going, Josh Shannon? It's been a while. But he's been linked to the Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Lakers, and of course the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers have said they're going to offer him the max contract. So Butler, who played really well in the playoffs for them, makes the most sense to return there because, he's not going to be the number one guy, which Butler is kind of big on his ego. As a Butler fan, like I will admit that he has an ego, but it makes the most sense. Max money. The team's already you already know what you're getting from them. It's a well set up team. I think Brett Brown is a solid coach. It's a historic organization. So free agents want to go there, especially Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler. Hell yeah, I want to play there. Possibly Tobias Harris. We don't know what's going to happen. So I think Butler should and will stay with the Sixers. And with the point of the Lakers, it makes a lot of sense. The Lakers will throw money at him. I think he is friends with LeBron, even though for me that sucks because, growing up a Bulls fan, going against the Heat and the Cavs, LeBron's our rival. I hate seeing my favorite players go to play with him because it hurt. Oh, could you imagine if, like, someone like Joakim Noah went to the Lakers? Oh God, that would be the worst thing because that like uproots everything Noah's ever done or said against LeBron. I don't. It will never happen just because Joakim Noah is Joakim Noah and he's real as shit. So that wouldn't happen. But I could see Butler going to the Lakers. Like that'd be the second place I'd see him going. I still think he's going to stay with the Sixers. Although I'm going to give, like, if I have to split the percentage between the two, I'm giving Sixers like a 60% chance to land him and Lakers like a 40. So that's still pretty good odds for the Lakers, just because Butler would obviously be the number 2, and depending on how his career turns out, maybe like right up there or like the number 1 guy with LeBron. Who knows? And then the Mavericks, the only reason why I put the Mavericks on there is because he's from Tomball, Texas, which I believe is closer to Houston, but at the same time, like Dallas isn't too far from Tomball. So that's the only reason I'm going to put him there. It kind of makes sense, although I don't like the fit. I don't know how he'd get. I feel like he'd butt heads with Rick Carlisle, and with Luka being there, and most likely Porzingis is going to resign there. I'm not too big on the fit, and like how he's done with young guys in the past. Like obviously Luka is an exceptional talent, so it could be different. Like obviously he wants to win, and Porzingis is a pretty competitive player, so those might be the young guys for him. I don't know about that one. Klay Thompson. Sorry, Lakers fans, he's not following in his dad's footsteps. He's staying in Golden State. You know why? Because if you are in the position of him where you've been accepted into the franchise, you've turned into a superstar there, you were drafted there, you're loved there, you form arguably the greatest backcourt of all time with Steph Curry there, and have talked about Steph Curry, like saying like, oh, like he's like the greatest teammate and stuff like that. Klay Thompson's not leaving. He's moving with the Warriors to San Francisco, and he's going to be happy continuing to stay in the Bay Area. Why would he leave? Yeah, Kevin Durant may leave. DeMarcus Cousins is going to leave. But there's still Steph Curry. There's still Draymond Green. There's still a title contender. Andre Iguodala just said today he's staying. So most of the band's going to be back. And with KD leaving and DeMarcus Cousins leaving, they have some cap space to rebuild the depth that they've lacked the last couple seasons because of the acquisition of KD. So yeah, Klay Thompson is can't talk. Klay Thompson is staying in Golden State. Now, a player leaving Golden State, like I just said, DeMarcus Cousins. He's on a mid-level exception deal, so obviously the Warriors do not have any space to re-sign him. He can go a number of places. I could see the Knicks throwing some money at him because it'd be a Knicks thing to do. I feel like he's going to get a short-term deal, but he's going to get money. It's just going to be a shorter-term deal just because like there's a lot of questions about his health. Like he tore his quad after tearing his Achilles. Like big man, close to 30, already showing signs of injuries like this. You got to be careful. And Cousins' temper and his history and his attitude is also very unattractive for a lot of destinations. I don't think he's a player you can rely on to be your number 1 guy, especially because in Sacramento, they never got over the hump. Yeah, they were in the West, but at the same time, like they'd have like sub 30 win seasons with Cousins like at full strength. And you're like, what is going on? Now Cousins potential, like I'm not saying Cousins won't be a great player again, and he could prove everyone wrong. It's just an Achilles injuries. It's hard to return 100% from, and it's the sad fact of the day. I could also see the Lakers throwing money as a last ditch effort to please LeBron and get somebody to come. So yeah, Cousins still up in the air, but I think he's just going to go to some team that's just going to throw money at him. Next player, Kemba Walker. He's going to stay with the Hornets. He already said that team's a priority, and clearly Michael Jordan and co think he's a priority too. He's the greatest player in franchise history. Sorry, Larry Johnson and Del Curry and Glenn Rice and Alonzo Mourning, but Kemba, yeah, he's the best player. He's loyal, and he's going to return. I can't say that they'll ever build a successful team around him. In fact, I don't think they will. He can't be the number one guy to go deep or even make the playoffs. No fault of his own. He's been fantastic. They just can't build a roster around him or at least give him a worthy number two guy. His number two guy is Jeremy Lamb, the same guy the Thunder traded James Harden for and didn't develop into what he is now, which is like a solid role player until like a year or two ago. He's not going to the Lakers. I know that's like a dream. Like that's probably the next likely option. And the Lakers are going to throw money at Kemba. But Kemba's staying with the Hornets. Nikola Vucevic broke out this season. Finally made an all-star team. Which I've been saying for years he should be making an all-star team. But he had a really good season this year. And he was the first. He led the Magic back to the playoffs for the first time since Dwight Howard left for Los Angeles. And he was the first all-star for the Magic since Dwight Howard left for Los Angeles. And the Magic say they want to re-sign him, which makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't. Because I just feel like that's a franchise, like, they don't know what they're doing. They're going nowhere. I'd hate to be a Magic fan. And they have Mo Bamba, who wasn't great, but he was hurt, but could still develop into something. So there's a lot of unknown. But you know where he could go? He might follow in the footsteps of the superstar center that preceded him and go to Los Angeles as a last option for the Lakers when they strike out on Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and basically any other big name. Sorry, Lakers fans. It's going to be slim pickings this year. Your franchise is such a mess. No one knows what's going on. Hell, if you guys don't get anyone, there's talk that LeBron will demand a trade. If LeBron has no confidence in this team, especially if they don't get someone, which understandable for LeBron to be upset, why is anyone else going to want to go there? Well, Vucevic, I could see as a guy that would go there, and he'd make a lot of sense. He has somewhat of an outside shot, I would say. And the Lakers need shooters, especially when it comes to bigs, because you're not going to see JaVale McGee hoisting threes anytime soon. So I could see Vucevic going either way, Magic or Lakers. Tobias Harris. I could see him going to the Nets. I could see him staying with the Sixers. He's one of those players where he's not big enough to where teams are like leaking all this info saying, oh, we want him. So I'm going to say right now, I could see him staying with the Sixers. His best buddy, Boban's probably going to be staying there. So it makes the most sense. Especially, I feel like there's unfinished business with that core. And if Butler leaves, in a way, it makes more sense for Harris to stay because they can give him more money. And I like the fit there with Harris in Philadelphia. The Lakers could also make a play for Harris. I don't think he'd go there. So I'm going to say Sixers on Harris. Chris Middleton is going to stay with the Bucks. He just made the All-Star team for the first time. Even though like his season, like you look and like this wasn't his best season, but hey, the Bucks have an All-Star other than Giannis, so that's great. Again, it's more unfinished business. Giannis said he wanted the whole team back. Chris Middleton has flourished in Milwaukee. It makes no sense for him to leave there. And he shouldn't leave. He shouldn't go to Los Angeles because, like, I keep saying Los Angeles is going to throw money at your players because that's what Los Angeles is going to do. They're desperate. They're going to throw money at everybody. But Chris Middleton is staying in the North Woods of, well, Milwaukee's not really North Woods, but North Woods of Wisconsin. Well, in like relation to Illinois, you know, Wisconsin's pretty north. Yeah, Michigan, whatever. D'Angelo Russell, I believe, wants to re-sign with the Nets, but he's been linked or like in talks of in like the Jazz potentially throwing money at him and stuff like that. He could become part of a trade package to the Pelicans, depending on what happens with Anthony Davis and them getting Kyrie. But I think he's going to stay in Brooklyn. Everyone wants him to go back to Brooklyn. He wants to go back to Brooklyn. Like, he came into his own. He's going to be a great player in the Eastern Conference for several years. And I am super excited to see what happens going forward with that. The final piece of free agents, he's not a huge name, but he's going to be kind of a nice segue into the NBA rumors discussion, is Malcolm Brogdon. He's been a terrific player for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think he should stay there. And I hope the Bucks keep him. I hope they overpay him or whatever they do, even though I don't want the Bucks to overpay for players, because I am worried the Chicago Bulls might overpay him. And I think they may overpay him so much that the Bucks don't match. And then we're stuck with don't get me wrong, Malcolm Brogdon's a solid player, terrific player, but he's not going to become an all-star. And for what? They're probably going to pay him like $23 million. I could see the Bulls throwing that much at him to where he's not worth the contract. Now you're just taking up more space and we can't grow anymore unless Laurie or Wendell Carter develops into superstars, or somehow Zach LaVine defies logic and takes a bigger step than what he took this year, which I think Zach LaVine's peaked. But who knows? You never know for sure. But that seems like the most likely conclusion. Otto Porter Jr.'s $27 million a year contract takes up a chunk of space. So I just don't want to see the Bulls tie up all this cap space just to sign somewhat big names that won't really do any much good than just being another great role player. I want to see stars in Chicago. I want to see smart roster additions. It'd be nice to have Malcolm Brogdon, but if you sign him for what he should be worth, the Bucks are going to match. So I hope the Bulls stay away from him. I hope the Bucks keep him. So segueing into that's the end of free agency. Now we're talking NBA rumors and trades and stuff like that. And I'm going to start off with my Chicago Bulls. I do not understand what Gar Forman and John Paxson are doing. I mean, they didn't do it, but they thought about it. In fact, they were about to pull the trigger until they backed out last minute, probably because someone with sense in the organization, like John Collins or maybe even Jerry Reinsdorf or his son, said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And this is what the fuck they thought they were going to be doing. They thought they were going to be trading for Chris Paul. But let me warn you, it's not 2014 anymore. It is 2019. Chris Paul is 34 years old. He didn't have that great of a season in Houston. You know why? Houston wants to possibly trade him because his contract's eating up a lot of space. And the Rockets' window for a championship's closing. It's an old roster, and Chris Paul's part of the reason why that roster's so old. The Bulls were going to offer, I think it was Chris Dunn and a pick. And get this, Lauri Markkanen. Yeah. Arguably our best player. Arguably our next superstar. They're going to trade Lauri Markkanen for Chris Paul. And for what? Well, you think Chris Paul is going to get us to the finals? Do you think Chris Paul's going to even get us to the playoffs? Declining? He's 34. He's going to be 35 next season. What do you expect? You got to trade Lauri Markkanen, who should be our future? What are we going to get out of that? Yeah, we need another point guard, but not at the expense of Lauri Markkanen. It's not like we have the first pick in the draft and we're going to draft Zion Williamson, who plays the same position. We have the 7th pick. You're not going to find someone to replace him at 7. Yeah, we got him at 7, but Lauri Markkanen's been better than we thought he'd be. And this draft's not as deep as the 2016 draft. Was that 2017 draft? It was the 2017 draft. No. Shit, how many years is he? Okay, yeah, no, it was 2017 draft. Okay. I was thinking for a second, he was like, no, this was his second season. All right. But yes, it's where I can't put into words how dumb our organization is. What would possess a franchise to trade Lauri Markkanen for Chris Paul. Why would they want to do that? It makes no sense. Like, it makes sense if, like, we already had great pieces and Lauri Markkanen was like, it makes sense if we still had Jimmy Butler. But we don't have Jimmy Butler. We traded Jimmy Butler to get Lauri Markkanen because we were so high on him and Zach LaVine. It wouldn't even make sense to trade Zach LaVine for Chris Paul. That wouldn't make sense. Oh, God. Oh, it hurts my brain. The Chicago Bulls, outside of the Knicks and the Lakers, are the most dysfunctional franchise in the fucking NBA. And it drives me crazy. Last bit of Bulls I'm just going to talk about. We have the 7th pick in the draft. It's a very weak draft outside of the top 3 or 4 picks. And we've been linked to Kobe White, who's an interesting player, but I'm not big on his potential. He may be exciting and maybe kind of like a Colin Sexton fix where, oh, look, flashy numbers. Ooh, look, flashy play, but it's not really going to translate to wins. I think we need more of a playmaker. Like Alonzo Ball, which the Bulls had been linked to Alonzo Ball for the last year and a half in trade talks. We almost traded for him last summer. We almost traded for him at the deadline. The Lakers sound like they have no problem getting rid of their young guys or leaking that information. So I'm completely fine if we trade the 7th pick and Chris Dunn to the Lakers for Lonzo Ball. I don't like Lonzo Ball. I can't stand his dad and this vision he has. So, oh, God, I swear to God, if he starts talking about having the Ball family all play in Chicago, I'm going to be pissed off because I don't want to hear about it. But Lonzo Ball makes a lot of sense for the team. Why? He's a terrific defender. He's an excellent playmaker. He'd slot in perfectly next to Zach LaVine because he can get Zach LaVine the ball. He can get Lauri Markkanen the ball. He can dish to anyone that needs it. Open shooters like Otto Porter. Or Lauri, he'd be fantastic. I would love to have him for what he could bring to the team playing wise. I don't want the baggage. I don't want the big baller brand. I don't want to see anything else come with it, though. Yeah, I know. If you know me really well, you know how I feel about the Ball family. But oh God, it might be a headache, but at the same time, I think I just want Chicago to do it. I'm still extremely salty we have the 7th pick the 3rd year in a row and that we don't have a top 4 pick. But it is what it is. Nothing's going to change it. So Lonzo Ball still has a lot of potential to be a star in this league. I'd be fine with that. And final piece of news, the Nets trade. This really goes kind of back to what could be an Anthony Davis trade or just trying to get a second max contract player in Brooklyn. The Atlanta Hawks have accepted a trade for Alan Crabb and his $18.5 million contract, which is one of those contract deals when they signed Joakim Noah for $17.5 million and Chandler Parsons for $22 million that one summer when the CBA exploded with so much money and cap space to where teams were like, oh, that's a good idea. We'll take this subpar player and give him money that would make Jimmy Butler shit his pants. So yeah, the Nets are making a great move in getting rid of Alan Crabb. I don't know why they wanted him at that price in the first place. So they're sending the 17th pick along with him and a 2020 lottery protected first round pick to the Atlanta Hawks for Taurean Prince, who I think is going to be a solid piece. He's a great young player, lots of potential, and he bolsters their small forward depth. I think DeMarre Carroll is a free agent this summer. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if they want to let Carroll walk, that's not a bad option to fill the void. And at the same time, they're sending a 2021 second round pick back to Brooklyn. This would be the best trade Brooklyn has made in some time because the other trades included trading Kyle Kuzma. And then who could forget the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry trade that landed a heap ton of picks in Boston and made Danny Ainge look like the smartest man alive and started his conquest to obtain every team's pick in the NBA. Well, that's really all I have for Highly Opinionated tonight. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties on the Anchor end, so I'll probably just upload half a podcast. I'm gonna hope to be doing this on a regular basis more often because let's face it, I have not been up to this. I had a new job that takes all the energy out of me. I'm working like 40 hours a week during the week, and my roommates are spread across the area. My living situation is not ideal because I'm living in a small apartment right now, and I had to tell my mom and my brother to like huddle up in their rooms so I could even do this for an hour. So shout out to them. Thank you for that. Um, and yeah, it's hard getting Chad and Antonio on a schedule, especially because they got work and all that. And I don't know. I think Antonio's still at home right now, so I could still do these with him. But Chad's like an hour away, which I guess I could make a trip out to DeKalb and we could get the band back together for a night or something, but we'll have to see. Well, anyway, thanks to you guys for watching. Have a nice day, week, month, year, whatever you're having. See you guys later. I appreciate you for watching the stream, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram Live after we got it going. And even though you won't hear this on Anchor, make sure to check this podcast out. Highly Opinionated on Spotify. Yes, we're on there. Still trying to get to Apple Podcasts. We'll get there eventually. So check us out on Anchor. Download the app. It's a cool app. You can make podcasts yourself. And definitely check us out on Spotify. Make me part of your morning or evening or however you listen to your podcast. See you guys later. And we're going to end the video stream on Facebook. Yes, we're going to end that. And we're going to end the video stream on... Oh, wow. The chat blew up. So I'm just going to answer the YouTube questions real quick, just in case anyone is still watching. The narrative, if KD loses, will he resign? No, he's not going to resign. That relationship, I feel like, is frayed, and KD needs to leave. I don't think LeBron has anything to do with KD going to the East and to the Knicks if that's what happens. I think LeBron and KD are completely separate because at one point KD was looking amazing in the playoffs with the Warriors and LeBron wasn't even in the playoffs this year. So LeBron is a non-factor to anything KD does going forward. Pascal Siakam could be the Robin to Kawhi Leonard, but he's just not consistent enough right now for it to make sense. Shout out to Mark Many for all these. I wish I was looking at the YouTube stream, which I might have to do next time. Boston, Lakers, Chicago were all super teams. No one remembers that. I did say that the Boston Big Four was a super team. I have to be a little unfair because the Celtics were really good when I started to get into basketball, so I accepted that. Lakers in the 90s, that was Showtime, but like it was fair because other teams in the league were really great. Like the Pistons were really good and the Celtics were really good and the Lakers Celtics back to back. Like that was always exciting. So it's not as lopsided as the Warriors have made it. Chicago, you can argue they were a super team, except Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant were homegrown talent. And Scottie Pippen really wasn't Scottie Pippen until 1992. You can argue 91, but I mean, he was still a little young, not as consistent. And Horace Grant wasn't even an all-star till MJ left. And then when MJ came back, Horace Grant left for the Magic. And then you come back to 95, 96. Scotty is a full-blown superstar. Jordan's comes back, still a homegrown pair. And then they signed Dennis Rodman, which really Rodman, like, yeah, he was a great player. But at the same time, he was 35 in 96, and he was just there for what he, like his rebounds. So, like, yeah, he made a huge difference defensively in rebounds, but like, he's not like, I don't think he necessarily made them a super team. Plus, the Bulls were going against great teams like the Sonics and the Jazz at the time. To where it was a fair fight. They weren't like over the top compared to them. Uh, yes, Mark Stevens definitely a privileged rich man. Facts. I know it's facts. Everything I say on the show is facts. You should know it's highly opinionated. Uh, yeah, the Knicks are about as dysfunctional as the Lakers. Although I will give it to the Lakers, they found a way to to beat the Knicks out in terms of media headlines for dysfunction. So I still think KD's going to go there. He will receive the most money with Golden State Warriors, but I don't think that's what KD really cares about. I think he cares about the narrative of his career and his legacy, and I think he wants to be remembered for being able to do it on his own. If he goes to the Knicks, he'll be a legend there forever. Uh, if he does do something there, so I think that's why I think he's going to go to the Knicks. Yeah, I do agree he will not go to the Clippers. Kawhi could be there. Uh, oh yes, KD is definitely needed, and that's become so like yeah. I do. I wish I brought that point up. That's a great point. KD is a necessity. You can argue, oh yeah, signing him was nice because the Warriors were already good. Well, KD's not a luxury if he's winning the Finals MVPs for the Golden State Warriors in back-to-back years. KD's not a luxury if when he goes down and the Warriors are now down 3-1. That wouldn't have happened if KD was at full strength. We could have already have seen a sweep if KD was playing. See, I also think the Pelicans owner will not trade AD to LA. New York doesn't have the most assets in comparison to LA, but outside of everyone else, most likely they do have the most assets. It also depends on how much the Pelicans like RJ Barrett, who is going to be the third pick in the draft. It'd be cool to see a Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett pairing. So I hope the Pelicans do trade AD to the Knicks because could you imagine two Duke teammates playing together on an NBA team when they're both expected to be stars? That'd be awesome. And that'd be great for New Orleans and the franchise. You hope Brooklyn does not sign Kyrie. I can understand that. Yeah, if you sign Kyrie, you're definitely going to need someone else there. Kyrie can't be the number one guy, and that has shown. Um, Ben Simmons is better. Ben Simmons is better at a jumper, and Philly needs shooters. I agree. Philly does need some shooters, which they could do this summer, or they might sacrifice some of that to um, to re-sign Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. But you have seen shooters in the past like sign on minimums for teams like that. I can see that happening. Um, but I do expect Ben Simmons to at least get some sort of jumper. I don't know about it like a solid 3-point shot in the span of 3 months, but something's got to happen. I would hate if Noah joined 3-6 Mafia stat pattern. So I do recognize that you are not a fan of LeBron, and you might possibly be a Bulls fan if you're talking in favor of Noah. Yes, Noah to any team with LeBron would be bad. Although I won't exactly say LeBron's a stat pattern because LeBron's just very good at basketball. Not a lot of people can do what he can do. Cousins, Cousins did have some help. He had Rudy Gay, Tyreek. Well, yeah, he did have Tyreek Evans for a bit. But like, yeah, he had Rudy Gay. So no, there was help. There was help. I forget. No, I don't think Kevin Martin was still there. Nope. I would say Sacramento hasn't always been a great organization, but I still feel like Cousins should have been able to do something. So I'm not big on him being the number one guy on a team. Raps in 5, finally a Canadian. I'm proud. I do think it will be the Raps in 5 as well. Especially if KD doesn't play. It'd be great to see something happen for Toronto. It'd be great for basketball and Canada. So I'm hoping, as an American, as a Bulls fan, and I'm sure most of America's with me. Let's go Canada. Let's see. This is delayed. Or you may I don't know how big the delay is. I estimate it's probably like anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. Um, but I wasn't responding to any comments just because I was messing with my Anchor thing and it stopped working. And usually I have that as the overlay because I record my podcast on Anchor while live streaming through the same camera on YouTube and Facebook Live. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. I guess I'll have to do the YouTube comments next time or set something up. Yeah, I know Bulls aren't going to be getting anyone that good in free agency, but it is nice to have the option and stupid to have all our cap space tied up for a few years just to sign names. I also guess that you don't like Lonzo Ball that much, which I understand. I'm not a big fan of Lonzo Ball. I'm just a fan of the kind of player he is and what he could bring to Chicago through his play and not through the baggage that comes with. All right. I will get better at answering YouTube comments as it seems like that does pretty well. I learned my lesson for next time. So thank you guys for watching on YouTube. And yeah. This is the end of this episode.